Welcome to the Home Building Hub, your essential podcast guide to building your new home. Hosted by industry experts Colin Bischoff and Darren Brennan, this conversational podcast will help better educate you about all things new home building so you can avoid costly mistakes and enjoy your building experience to the fullest, no matter which home builder you choose.
Hey there folks, Colin here from the Home Building Hub, joined by co-host Darren Brennan, and thanks for jumping on again. This is, part 3 of a little mini 3-part episode or series around building terms, land terms, and this one actually is around contract drawing terms. So for all of those who are at that point of the process, I guess if you're at the start where a builder's provided you with some standard contract drawings or some standard plans, or if you're at your own contract drawing stage and you've got some detailed plans there, this episode will help with explaining some of the acronyms, Daz, that people come across. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Do you want to kick off first with the disclaimer?
Yeah, indeed. So whilst we're all about providing you with value, this podcast should not be considered as legal or financial advice. It contains general information only, and you should seek out independent professional advice on your personal situation before making any legal or financial decisions. Separate to that, there's a fee for the podcast. We keep going on about it, but we really want you guys to share it with at least one person. It'd be amazing for us. So if you're getting value out of the podcast, please just, copy the link, stick it in a text message and bang it across to a mate who might get some value out of the podcast. You'd be doing us a great service. So I might kick things off, Cole, this one. I'm just going to scroll down my page to get to it. So I guess one of the first terms would be or, the measurement on a plan, which usually in millimeters, referring to 1,000 equaling 1 meter. For example, a standard shower is usually 900 millimeters or 0.9 of a meter, and an upgraded shower is often 1,200 millimeters or 1.2 meters. So is the first one, mate. Over to you.
Yep, nice. So one that people have a bit of trouble with, I'm going to talk about, is elevations. Okay, so when you look at a contract, I call them contract drawings, but detailed drawings, there's going to be a whole bunch of pages, and those pages will be, there'll be like a bird's eye view of your plan, but there'll also be these elevation views, and that's basically the side view of a particular, it might be the front, the side and rear externally of your home, but there's also elevations provided by the builder and the drawings or the drafty, outlining the side view of your kitchen or side view of your bathroom, of your ensuite, all the internal components as well. Okay, so that's what elevations are. They're the side view, and they're really helpful for you to get a better detail on what your design will include. Maybe how many cupboards, and the cupboards all the way across, or do you have cupboards up the top? Things like that. That's why you need to look at elevations.
Great, man. I'm kicking off with eaves. So eaves are the horizontal edges of the roof that overhang beyond the walls, providing protection from the weather elements and enhancing the architectural aesthetics of the home. The most common eave would be a 400 mil, but there could be a 600 mil. There might even be a 300 mil eave. So they're just sticking out from the side of the house and make it look pretty good. So
yep.
Yeah, often people will like those. One thing to bear in mind with eaves, I guess it relates back to our last podcast, is if you've got eaves, you've usually got to be a little bit further from the side boundary of the property to make sure you've got enough natural light getting in through the windows.
Probably say, Daz, most builders add eaves in Victoria as standard to the front of the facade and a little bit that wrap around. Yeah. So we use, it depends, 400, 450 mil eaves. But in other states, I know Queensland require eaves around the whole lot from memory. So it can vary by state, yep. So just be mindful of that. But yeah, eaves are pretty important. The next one in relation to, facades is one called an awning window. Okay, so most of the homes and builders supply standard sliding windows throughout the home, sliding doors, sliding windows on the front of your home to address the street appeal and potentially the estate requirements. There's more than likely no sliding windows allowed. They're going to put awning windows. So just for people who don't know what that means, an awning window is essentially the window that has the little thing to use to turn to the
winder.
Right. The little winder thing. The awning window is one that's not a sliding window. It's the one that comes out. Okay, so as you wind it to the right, the window progresses out towards the front of the home. Okay, so that's what an awning window is.
Cool. Some of these next ones probably don't need a lot of explanation, but we'll fly through these. So if you see on your plan a WIP, it's referring to a walk-in pantry. Over to you.
And sometimes, Darren, a plan may not have a walk-in pantry, so they might just have the letter P with a full stop next to it, or PAN. So walk-in pantry is good. I've got REF, and that refers to the refrigerator space. Okay, so a refrigerator will be very unlikely to be provided by the builder, but a refrigerator space, it will give you the dimensions of that to make sure that your fridge fits in there.
On that note, it's worth measuring your fridge too, and if you need to widen that space, speak with your builder to make sure your fridge fits, because there's nothing worse than finding out later your fridge doesn't fit in the space that's provided, because some of the fridges are pretty damn big these days. My one is MW, which is referring to the microwave space. It'll usually, where they've got an MW, have a power point there. It'll be within the cabinetry in your kitchen. So check it out. Can be up on the wall or down low below the bench top. So MW
Yep.
microwave.
My one next is DW, so that stands for dishwasher. And again, some builders provide the actual dishwasher, some do not. But when it comes to drawings, we're referring to the dishwasher space, just like we are with microwave and refrigerator spaces. Okay, so that's where they're proposing on the drawings to place the space for you to install your dishwasher.
Cool. Next one is WM, which is there for washing machine, and it's referring to the space of which you place your washing machine, because again, most builders don't provide a washing machine. It'll generally be in your laundry, but again, if you've got a European style laundry, for example, in a hallway or something, it could be in that area as well. It will include taps to the area and also a drainage point where you can have your overflow from your washing machine run out into. Over to you, mate.
Yep. So the next one for me is DR. It's usually DR, and that just refers to a drawer. So again, you would be looking at your plans, you'd be looking at the elevations of your kitchen or potentially your laundry, but most likely the kitchen where the drawers are. And sometimes you might have a pot drawer that you've upgraded to, so it might refer to POT or PDR or something like that. But that, make sure you double check the elevations to see that you've got the pot drawer you wanted, or whether you've got the drawers or the cupboards in the right way, shape, or form.
Cool. Next one is CSD, which stands for cavity sliding door, but might also be noted as SD for just sliding door. And what a cavity sliding door is, a door that goes back into the wall itself, so it's hidden nicely within the wall, and away you go. And it'll usually show the direction of which it slides back into that wall.
Yep. For those watching, we've got one right behind me, just here, cavity sliding door. But for those listening, that probably won't help much, Daz. Yeah. The next one is WIR. So that is a walk-in robe. Okay, so if you're in a master bedroom, there'll probably be a reference WIR for the walk-in robe, which is the ones you walk in, and it's usually got an L shape or a U shape set of shelving, I should say. The standard bedrooms usually won't have a walk-in robe. They will have just what's referred to as a robe. Okay, so not something you can walk into, but something you just in front of you, like a robe or a linen cupboard sort of shape. So WIR is walk-in robe.
Cool. I'm on a WIL, which is a walk-in linen. And again, generally would have in a walk-in linen some shelves provided ready to go. So you get 4 or 5 shelves depending on what's specified on the drawings. Next, mate.
Yep. WC, this one I've been asked about a lot. So WC, actually, the term is water closet. But in simple terms, WC just represents a toilet. Like it's just where the toilet is WC. Nice and simple.
Cool. Next one is ENS, which is your ensuite, which is generally off the master bedroom. So it would traditionally have a shower and a basin and a toilet in there. Again, depending on the size of your home, you may have multiple en-suites. So it might be even labeled ENS 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., depending on how many en-suites directly off a bedroom you have. So over to you, mate.
LIN, so close to what yours was with walk-in linen. This one refers to just LIN, which represents linen. And just to repeat, that the linen usually represents a space that has 4 shelves, usually, sometimes 5, as opposed to a robe that has 1 shelf and hanging rail. in a bedroom, for example.
Cool. And then you can have a BRM or a BR, which is referring to a broom cupboard, which usually means it's just got one shelf and then enough room, maybe quite a high shelf, and enough room below that to put your broom or your vacuum cleaner in that cupboard. So
yeah, and consider adding a electrical or power point into your broom cupboard if you do have a vacuum that needs charging. Good place to add a power point. The next one for me is RA. You'll see this on all the plans somewhere. RA is return air. Okay, so that's a required section, usually a little void area. It's got a little grill or grate at the front of it, usually somewhere along a hallway or a passage. Essentially what that is, it's a ventilation system component that allows the air to flow back into the heating and cooling unit for reconditioning. Okay, so you don't need to keep your heater on, if you want to keep it on 18, for example, you don't keep bringing in air from the outside to recondition it because that would take too much effort. It actually recycles the air through the return air vent, back up the unit and spits it back out through the ducted system. Okay, so that's what return air is for, and you definitely need one.
Indeed. Next is bulkhead, sometimes related to, or noted, as B-head, not big head like me, but B-head on a plan. This is just a drop section of plaster, usually in a hallway or passage, but also sometimes found in areas like a kitchen, so you might have a featured drop-down bulkhead. It's also often put in place to break up the line of the plaster so you don't see too long a line of plaster ceiling, because it's pretty difficult to get that plaster ceiling to be as flat as a tack, so it does break up visually your eye so that you can't tell that it may not be as level as you perceive it actually is. So it's just there also as a bit of a way to break the roof space up. So
yep. Cool. And they look good too, I think. Yeah, bulkheads. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed.
Next one for me is HWS. So that just stands for hot water service. Sometimes it might be known as HWU, for example, which is hot water unit. So for the most part, I'd say, Darren, at least here in Victoria, more so the metro, most of the time that'll be your solar hot water service unit that is standard.
Yeah, indeed. Yep. Next is GM, which is your gas meter, usually located at the front of the property.
Yep. Quick one after that. MB stands for meter box. Okay, so that will be put usually on the side of your property, pretty close to the gas meter. One condition there is if you're building a narrow house on a narrow block and you're building boundary to boundary, the meter box will more than likely be placed inside your porch. Okay, it'll be put into the brickwork a little bit so it won't stick out too much, but it will be placed in there. Okay, so narrow blocks, narrow homes, please keep that in mind. Meter box, yep.
For sure. And it's referring to the electrical meters, I guess. I don't know if you mentioned that, Cole, but
no, I didn't.
That's a DP down pipe around the home. They do need to be specified in certain locations. So there's got to be a certain number of those around the home capturing a certain amount of the roof space. So DP be just around the outside of the perimeter of the property or the perimeter of the home. Cool. Over to you, mate.
Yeah, OBS may or may not be on your plans, but that often refers to obscure glazing or frosted window, essentially. So if there is a little window schedule on your plans, sometimes the builders will put whether it's frosted or whatnot, but OBS might be a term used to indicate that it's obscure glass. Okay, so a bathroom might not have clear glass, or an ensuite or a toilet. It depends. You have to check with your builder inclusions, but that's what it means if you do have that selected or as part of the standard.
Cool. 3 to go, Cole. Niche, usually referred to as a shower niche, essentially is a built-in square or rectangular shelf into a wall, which you can put your shampoo on, but can also be used just done in plaster, for example, to put your TV in, meaning, a large cutout in the wall, essentially. And used to be, and it's not as often these days, but they're often put in hallways and stuff as features in homes as well. And people have put a downlight inside that. So that's what a niche is. It's a cutout into the wall for either in a shower or for a telly or something like that. So.
Yep. GPO, General Power Outlet, another word, PowerPoint. Okay, so some plans, electrical plans, refer to GPO. You just need to check two things. Single, is it a single or is it a double? And you want to check the height of the power point. Make sure that's where it needs to be.
And our lucky last mate's a sewer stack, and they're only on 2-story homes because you don't need them on a single. But a sewer stack is a vertical pipe that carries the water, the wastewater that is, and any sewage from the upper level down to the main sewer beneath the home. So, yeah, you'll see an area that might be labelled sewer stack, and that's referring to where all the water from upstairs showers, toilets, etc., are flowing downstairs.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Cool.
Well done. Done
Flown
well there,
through.
Daz. Yeah, we have. We've done pretty quick. So we just want to say thank you for listening again. We hope that all of these terms have been of value for those who are trying to review plans. We hope that the previous 2 episodes have been pretty short and sharp and of value to those of you, in the land process or the quoting process as well. So, these episodes came about just from some feedback from our listeners, just saying that sometimes we throw out terms that we know as jargon. I think the term titled land was the one that the example was given to us, Darren.
It was.
So we
Thank you, Anthony.
Anthony, yep. So we just wanted to go back to the basics and give you guys some of the most common terms. So hopefully you found it very valuable. As we say at the top, please share it with someone, this podcast. And if you've got any other further questions or other things you want us to talk about, please jump on the website, homebuildinghub.com.au. If you want to learn more about myself or about Darren, go back to episode 1. Tells you about who we are, experience, also why we're doing the podcast, what the point is, what the purpose is. And that calls it a day, I reckon, for this one, Darren.
Awesome, mate. Enjoy the rest of yours and catch up with you in a week, mate.
Done. Sounds good. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye-bye.
1,